25% of women think about leaving their careers in menopause and 10% do. It's a big deal. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
I am dusting off the headphones today. I haven't done an interview in a very long time, but today I'm willing to do that for somebody who's really special. You know when somebody shows up online and immediately makes you feel seen? That's Victoria Kerby. She's a holistic wellness practitioner specializing in menopause and perimenopause. And she's built a community of over 35,000 women on TikTok who trust her to bring clarity, humor, and healing to one of the most misunderstood chapters of our lives. But this conversation, this one goes deeper because the truth is women aren't just dealing with hot flashes. We're dealing with heat from every freaking direction. From the political atmosphere to the legislation that directly impacts our bodies. It's no wonder so many women are carrying quiet fear right now. Today, like I said, we're dusting off the headphones because this conversation matters. We're going to talk about what's happening inside our bodies, what's happening to our rights, and how we can take our power back. One conversation, one connection, one truth at a time. She's got a podcast, and she's leading a wellness revolution for women everywhere. So buckle up, because this beautiful human, Victoria Kerby, is on Sassy Politics today. Let's do it. I'm Christy Chanelle, and this is Sassy Politics. Well, it's nice to meet you.
It's so nice to meet you too. You are beautiful. I wish I was there with you. I would give you a giant hug.
Oh, I would give you a hug too. I hopefully one day, you never know.
We'll make it happen.
I will say this. I met Victoria on TikTok. So it is possible to meet really cool people and have a fantastic community around you. And this is proof right here. So I'm going to introduce you to Victoria. I'm going to let her do it because nobody can explain her better than herself. So, let's do it.
All right. So I'm a family nurse practitioner. I've been practicing for 26 years. I did family practice medicine for a long time, kind of transitioned into integrative medicine, started my own practice in 2018, and then really kind of my entire practice at this point is hormones, perimenopause, and menopause care for women in midlife. Married, second and final. Yeah. This is it. This is the last.
We're done.
Yeah, we're done. And I have two girls who are 19 and 22. A dog who's in the room with me because he has anxiety and is neurotic without me. Yeah. I'm really thick into the sandwich generation right now. I have a mother who I am the POA for with Alzheimer's, who's in memory care. So I definitely feel like that helps me relate to the women I'm taking care of, because it adds like a lot to this season of life.
Can I ask you, for the people that don't know, including myself, you said sandwich community?
Sandwich generation. So
generation. Okay. What does that mean?
So this is a term that we're using to describe women in midlife, or, people in midlife who are still, parenting. Because again, even if our kids are kind of out of the house, they're kind of like practicing adults. They're getting used to it. So they still need us. And some of us who had children older are still in the throes of parenting, while also now caring for your aging parents in some capacity.
Okay.
Yeah. And so being there in the same season that you're also in, let's say, menopause and, is a lot. But I think that's kind of describes my life. I'm also in the throes of my own menopause. Thank you for my patch. And so that's kind of a bit about me.
So I'm going to be very transparent with you, and I don't know hardly anything about it, and I'm in it. So this is I'm the one that you're like, oh my God,
I got you.
What are you doing? That's me. Okay. And I will be the first to admit it, but I will tell you for myself. Well, first I want to say how amazing that you have two daughters and you're able to educate them and all the things that I think people like myself and other people don't know about. So they're very lucky to have you. I wish I had somebody that was explaining to me, but my mom passed away at 45.
Oh.
So I never really got to learn a lot about what happens afterwards. I am in menopause. I haven't had a period. This October will be 2 years.
Okay, yeah, you're postmenopausal.
Yeah. And for me, I didn't really have a lot of symptoms. I did have frozen shoulder, which did impact me. And of course, at the time, I didn't know anything. I was afraid because I had had neck surgery in my neck, and I thought it was connected to that. So I had all of these x-rays done, and he said, well, you're either diabetic and he never said anything about menopause. So it was my own research that figured it out, and people my age actually having frozen shoulder. Maybe you can tell me a little bit about what that's all about.
Yeah. So I'll just dive in. I'll give kind of like a general, in case people, I think people are becoming more aware because we have things like podcasts and social media. But menopause is literally a day. So it's 12 months without a period. After that, you're postmenopausal for the rest of time. That 7 to 10 year window before that is perimenopause. And I think that we're starting to talk about this more, but that is really a tough season. And so, unfortunately, before now, we really weren't recognizing this. And so women would come in, right? So women in their late 30s, even late 30s, 40s, they go in because they're anxious, right? So they're like, I'm anxious or I can't sleep. I hate people. I'm irritable. I can't stand myself, right? Big one. I don't feel like myself. I'm tired. I'm gaining weight. I have no idea why, because I'm doing all the same things that I've always done. I could never have sex again, be totally happy. P.S. My shoulder hurts. And I think I have Alzheimer's because I can't remember anything, right? And so women keep going in to access care and say, I'm having all these things. And really what they're being told is, anxiety, here's something for your anxiety. Let's send you to PT for your frozen shoulder, right? This is just this season of life. You're just a busy mom. So a lot of it's inadvertent gaslighting, right? Because people in primary care medicine and gynecology are doing the best with what information they have in a system where they had virtually zero training about perimenopause and menopause. So that's kind of like what we're seeing. And the reason, Chrissy, that this is happening for women is because in perimenopause, you're having drops in your progesterone, your testosterone leaves the building, and your estrogen is wild. So it's 7 to 10 years of a woman's life. And some women can say, we talk about hot flashes, right? Because you think you picture in menopause, like women throwing their clothes off, and that's what it is. I can't tell you how few women actually come to see me for hot flashes. So
really,
yes, it's not the presenting symptom. It's weight. It's libido. Biggest thing. And this is really tough. Non-specific. I don't feel like myself. And I hear this one, it's heartbreaking because this is when women will cry in my office because, they're like, I just don't enjoy things. I don't have the motivation for things. Like I don't have my spark. And that is something that we're not talking about enough, but it's so impactful on women's lives.
I would say for me, I didn't know I was there. I had no idea that I was there, but I can tell you, looking back, I do see the signs that you're talking about. And for me, I was with a job for 10 years. I loved it. They were like family. And then this is before my period had stopped.
Yeah.
I started weighing the options here and saying, I'm not happy. I'm more unhappy than I am happy. And I left that job and went and did something totally different in the same field, but a whole new company. And now looking back, I'm like, I think that was me just not being happy and needing something different. But it was pivotal in my life. So
25% of women think about leaving their careers in menopause and 10% do. It's a big deal. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
And not only because of that, like, I'm just not happy with this, because I think midlife puts us in a position anyway to kind of reevaluate, like, What am I doing?
Hmm.
What's my purpose? That kind of thing. But when you're in a really high power career and you're giving a presentation and you literally, your mind goes blank and you don't remember what you're going to say. I mean, that's tough.
I still don't really know. I haven't gone and done any hormone. I haven't done anything. And I probably have a few symptoms, but I think it's more with memory than how I'm feeling. I think
Right.
I feel okay. And I wanted to ask you, does that have anything to do with intermittent fasting? Is there a connection there? Because I have been doing that for years.
Yep. I'm going to tell you the bad news about that. So I
Uh,
know I'm not an anti anything, like whatever somebody's doing that works for them. And I think that in the 20s and 30s and the 40s, even, there's something to be said. And I do believe that there's a lot to be said for overnight rest. You know what I mean? And having a break but really what we're looking at is it's more, especially if it's a long fast, we're creating more stress on the body.
mm,
And more stress is what cortisol, sleep disruption, and then you're talking about insulin resistance. So it can be some people that swear by it. I never yuck anybody's yum.
hmm hmm
But at the same time, like I think I have a lot of women who come to me and say, I'm doing this and it used to work for me and it doesn't. One of the things that I talk to women a ton about is what we did at 20 and 30 goes literally out the window once we hit midlife. And so it's like where before it was eat less, move more. I'm going to do this weird fad diet. I'm going to do, whatever it might be. I'm going to kill it at the gym can dig you into a hole. Like if I had to give somebody like the little, here's your care package for
Sure.
menopause, protein, heavy lifting,
Hmm.
restorative activity, prioritizing sleep, nourishing your body. Because a lot of us, Gen X, let's be real, we spent our whole lives trying to be in smaller bodies. Like that was the ultimate goal.
Yeah,
And I
absolutely.
try to encourage women to really shift into a mindset of stronger bodies, healthy bodies. Because women, if you go look at a nursing home, we live longer, but we don't live healthier.
I'm trying to do that.
Hmm.
I know it's true because osteoporosis and all the things that are going to happen or could happen.
Right.
Um, I, I'm not being proactive, and I definitely, probably needed this episode more than you
So
realize.
yeah, so a couple of years ago when I was getting excited and relearning everything, because I treated menopause in the 90s and then 2002, I called my patients and said, oh my gosh, you got to stop. These hormones are dangerous. And then now, I had to relearn and the way we're doing menopause care is radically different. So I had a full year of pretty significant learning about menopause before I felt confident to add it into my practice. So in the
Hmm.
meantime, I was very fortunate to pair up with my friend Kim. Lovely. She's lovely. And she's a dietitian and a life coach. And we created a bunch of programs together for women in menopause so we could, get the word out. We
Yeah.
do a podcast. Um, Whatever it might
Oh,
be. Yeah,
we need to get back to that. We are
we
circling
will.
back to that.
It's been really fun. But it's really, we both have that. We say it in probably every episode or when we meet with women, strength training becomes non-negotiable. It, and I will tell you, so she is a fitness freak. Like she is like, I've always loved exercise and I used to run, I do more walking, yoga, but I hate strength training. I
Yeah.
hate it, but it's the thing that I have to force myself to do. So it's just figuring out, like, for you, if you don't love it, what could you habit stack it with? Like, for example, could you find a girlfriend who you want to do it with? So then at least you're getting like some joy out of that time. Or, like in my case, I found a gym that's all women. It's solely focused
Mm.
on strength training. So then somebody tells me what to do. I need somebody to tell me what to do. It's just
Yeah, I'm
not,
the same.
yeah,
I'm the same. An accountability partner really helps the
yeah.
whole process.
Hmm.
For me, I grew up dancing, so I love to dance, not
Oh,
necessarily strength train. So my son put on the Apple TV for me, and it has like it's hip hop, but I could put something on my ankles, right,
yeah,
and make that whole thing work. So I think my daughter's gonna do it with me, just to
good.
kind of bring back the I need music. I think that's what it's all about for
Yeah,
me is
yeah.
the rhythm and the music. So I will try to figure that out. I don't know. Okay, you have a
Yeah.
podcast. So how did this whole thing start?
Okay. So Kim Lovely and I created something called, we got really excited because we were sharing office space and we're sharing the same patients. And we're literally sitting down every day at lunch and going, we're seeing the same patients and they're not getting better. And this really was what prompted us to dive into, you know, menopause care.
Mm-hmm.
So we decided that we would kind of put together a program. So we created something called Faded to Fabulous. And it was a really comprehensive, like online modules about nutrition in menopause, movement, stress management, like everything. We interviewed providers that were like pelvic floor PT. So we kind of made it like a team approach. And then
Mm-hmm.
basically kind of helped women so that if it wasn't somebody that could come see me in New Hampshire, if it's somebody who's in another state that I can't help, like help them access care because access to menopause care is really the pits right now. It will get better over time. So we created Faded Fabulous. We ended up doing a lot of like, we would go and do free talks for women and things like that. I still do it. I love it. Kim was the one who was pushing on the podcast. She's like, this would be really fun.
Yeah,
And so
it
it's
is.
been a blast. I think we've actually done 11 episodes. We've only put out 6, but they're 15 minutes. So it just is kind of focusing on whatever topic, and it's been really fun.
I've been doing this for about 2 years
Yeah.
now, and I love it. I think it gives me an outlet. I actually used it and worked through a lot of trauma. I didn't start in politics. I started kind of in mental health. Not that I'm an expert, but just that I
Right.
had a lot to get off my mind.
Yeah.
And when I did that, I started to really work through it. It was absolutely amazing for me. I feel like I'm a healed person. I've gone through a lot in my life, losing my mom. And ironically, this ties in because you do holistic, right? And my mom actually passed away because she was diagnosed with bipolar. And her fill-in doctor prescribed her medicine that mixed with her medicine, and it killed her. It
Oh
stopped her
my
heart.
God, Christy, I'm so sorry.
Yeah, thank you. And so kind of a lot of what I pull from is the feeling of, big pharma and all the ties there, and how there is an alternative to what they're trying to sell you, the greed and everything associated with it. Unfortunately, you mentioned that and you get strikes and ban warnings. And so I couldn't stay there and actually get the
Wow.
message out. But that's where I started.
So when I say holistic health, so the what I like about like kind of my individual practices, I come with years in traditional medicine. So I have the background of it. I think if I look at like my sort of practice, holistic means whole person. And it
Hmm.
and it and I think that medicine right now, I don't think people are not going to ban this statement. Everybody knows it. Medicine's a mess. Like traditional system is a mess.
Yeah. Hmm.
And it's not because you don't have wonderful providers. It's because all of the systems that are in place. So the traditional medicine model in particular, they have very limited time traditionally to see you. It's very focused on problems. So a lot of times it's like, oh, you have, again, go back to the perimenopausal woman, you have anxiety, here's your anxiety medicine. You have insomnia, here's something for sleep. Oh, your shoulder hurts, here's an anti-inflammatory. Where I think if you're doing more holistic based practice, you're kind of looking and going, what's causing all these things in the first place, right? And with menopause, and you're looking at its absence of hormone. Like, even though there's tons of people kind of grifting and saying, oh, take this probiotic, it'll fix your menopause or whatever it might
Hmm.
be. No, it won't. It's just really expensive. Yeah. So there's flaws. You need the traditional model as well. But I think that, anybody who's really doing evidence-based menopause care today for women is, again, mostly utilizing FDA approved hormones, but we're using body identical hormones, meaning
Hmm.
they're the same chemical structure as the hormones we have in our body. So that's what you want to kind of look at and look for when you're looking for a provider. So you were talking earlier about how your menopause was kind of a breeze. Menopause, when we're looking at options, right, or we're thinking about a why, what I encourage, like, so I always say, not every woman is a candidate for hormones. Not every woman wants hormones, but every woman deserves to have a conversation about it.
Yeah.
And if a woman's considering it, I always encourage them because obviously if they're coming to see me, there's a problem, right? There's typically they're seeing me because they're like, oh my gosh, whether it's the weight gain, the hot flashes, the low libido, all the things. They want to take something that's going to make them feel better now. But I always challenge women to think about again hormone therapy in terms of your long-term health. So what we know is that women on hormone therapy have a decreased incidence of fractures, right? So osteoporosis,
Mm-hmm.
heart disease, diabetes, Alzheimer's. So we've got lots of reasons to do hormones beyond, right?
Yeah.
Just that I don't feel so well. So for disease prevention, that's where I really, my goal is for every woman to be 80 years old, playing pickleball, having sex, like doing the things, you know what I mean? Being
Uh-huh.
vibrant,
Uh-huh.
you know?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think right now, I think one of my biggest things is sleep for some
Hmm.
reason. I never had a problem. I was the one that had 2 alarm clocks because I couldn't get up. And now
Hmm.
it's hard for me to sleep. If something's on my mind, it's even harder.
Yep.
But it's not, I moved. I'm thinking, oh, maybe it's because I moved and I always sleep on the right side and my bed's weird. So I'm on the left side now.
Hmm.
But I think it might be more about what you're saying, you
Yeah,
know.
it definitely,
Yeah.
in earlier perimenopause, a lot of times it's low progesterone and then low estrogen kicks in. So a lot of times progesterone's like that anxiety, I can't get to sleep. And a lot of times with estrogen, it's like that 2 to 3 a.m. wake up, you know?
I'm thinking I
Yeah.
need a checkup.
Yes.
I have friends in the past that have told me that they went and they got a testosterone.
Mm,
I don't know what it is. They put it in their back or
yeah.
something.
Pellet.
Yeah, pellet. Yeah.
Yeah.
And they were really happy with it. But I was like, I don't want to put a pellet in my back. I had
Um,
no desire.
yeah. So you know how I said I don't yuck anybody's yum? This is
Yes,
the
you're
one
about to.
I'm going to yuck that yum. Yeah. So I'll just give you my 2 cents on it.
Sure.
Um, I, that exists for a reason because for 20 years, we stopped treating menopause and stopped learning virtually anything about menopause. In desperation, women are like, I need help. Well, here come the med spas offering pellets.
Hmm.
So realistically, what that is they're pellets that you actually have surgically implanted into your buttock with hormones in them. And typically testosterone is the big one. And women feel great. They have so much sex drive and energy and everything is wonderful. And then they don't. And now they've spent thousands of dollars, right, over the course of months to do this. If you hate it, you can't take it out. It's not FDA approved. The
Ugh.
the women who are doing the women who are doing hormone therapy, their training is by the company that creates the pellets. So typically, and
Hmm.
so I'm not a fan. Also, you can get, because we're giving you such enormous doses of hormones, you can get an enlarged clitoris, you can get deepening of your voice, chin hair. Yeah. So
Wow.
for me, that's one that's a no.
That's a no for
Yeah.
me
Yeah.
too.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
wow. I had no idea. I had 2 friends of mine that did
Hmm.
it and they were just so happy, but I couldn't afford it. So I was like, I'm going to stay away
Yeah.
from it, which I guess was a blessing in disguise.
7% of providers feel comfortable managing menopause. So again, accessing care, you want to be careful because when there's such a need and women are really desperate and you have a system, you're going to have people come out of the woodwork who are not necessarily doing the right thing. So I always tell women, if you're looking, you look for somebody who's Menopause Society certified or even better, which because I did Menopause Society certification and it was great and I learned a lot about women in midlife and general things. I didn't get what I needed for being a prescriber of hormones, the ins and out nuances. So Heather Hirsch, MD, which if you've ever seen any of her content on TikTok,
Mm-mm.
she is a internist and has been doing menopause care for 10 years before any of us were talking about it. And she is amazing and created a provider course. So I did her coursework. I took coursework under Kelly Casperson, who's amazing. She wrote the book You're Not Broken. She's a urologist and talks a
Hmm.
lot about testosterone and women's health. So we've got some good like pioneers in there, but that would be
Yeah.
Heather Hirsch has a directory for clinicians who've taken her course. So that's what you want to kind of look
Okay.
at. And you can ask questions of an office ahead of time to make sure you're not going to leave frustrated. Like does this person use compounded? Do they use FDA approved? Like, you're going to want to find somebody who's a fit for you.
I think that a lot of women, they don't want to age. And because they don't want to age, they don't want to talk about it. It's embarrassing. It's like, I'm not youthful anymore. I don't have that. The more we can break the stigma and talk about it, the better off we are. I mean, it's only going to help us to make it okay to talk about it.
Yeah, it's happening. If you live long enough, we're all going to get older, right? And so, yeah, we should be talking about it. Our mother's generation, you had mentioned your mom and said, she wasn't able to talk to you about menopause. There's a good chance that she wouldn't have anyway, because I can tell you that generation, a lot of people in our generation will say the same thing. My mother never told me about this. Or even funnier, one person said to me, her mother said, "Oh no, I didn't have menopause." I'm like, "No, you did." Like,
sorry to tell you.
Yeah. Or some of our mothers will be like, "Oh, my menopause was fine. I don't know what you're talking about." And you're like, "Do you remember how unhinged you were for a few years? Like, you were not fine,
Yeah. And I wasn't with anyone at the time. So my kids had to endure that I didn't even realize. And so they're probably like, Mommy's not psycho anymore.
Yay, Mommy's less crazy. Hooray.
So there's a chance for us. We're not going to get that trait. So how do you feel with the political climate right now for women? As you know, that's my realm. And I am terrified of what's coming for us. So just in the climate, because you actually work in it, what do you think is coming for us?
So I will share, and I am in a place of privilege. I will admit that I have a private practice. I don't have to worry about somebody firing me for saying my beliefs. And I'm, as you know, on TikTok, pretty outspoken about them.
Yeah, you are.
So I cried in 2016 on the day of the election results. I was devastated. And I was called dramatic. And my fear, having two daughters and being somebody who loves women, was that we were going to have Roe v. Wade overturned. And I was told I was so dramatic. And yet here we are. And so that's one piece. So we'll start with that. Like the abortion piece, and I did get vocal this year about that on Facebook, which is just dangerous land, right?
That's hard.
Yeah. And a bunch of some people came at me, Christian, like, how could you? And what I had to explain was, as a healthcare provider, what I want everybody to understand is that abortion is healthcare. Women who are having an ectopic pregnancy or a miscarriage that's incomplete require an abortion. Okay. It's termination of, right. And because there isn't there's no medical code for miscarriage, it's called an abortion. So
I didn't know that.
Absolutely. So when you say, this is why we have women in places like Texas who go in with their ruptured ectopic and can't get care, because if they've outlawed abortion care, those physicians are like, and the hospitals aren't going to let the physicians do anything, even if they wanted to go against that. So my fear is enormous for women. So that's one piece, right? The abortion care, but healthcare.
Can I jump in on that? I think it even scares me further because I'm worried that they want our health records. Okay. They want to see what's going on. They want us to be able to take a pregnancy test before we get on an airplane. And I'm in Texas, so I see what exactly is happening here. And I am terrified for the females. I'm terrified for my daughter, who is 23. I am extremely vocal about it. And there have already been documented deaths on this. And nobody is freaking out. I don't understand. Like, how do they not put the correlation and all the stuff together to know that it could be you or your child?
Because cult. I mean, do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's all about like the fetus. And I'm not saying that's a wrong stance for somebody to be pro-life, but when it becomes so hyper fixated on that, it's easy enough to look away until it's you, right? Because wasn't it in Florida that, I'm going to butcher this. It was in Florida. It was I don't know if she was a senator. She
Yes.
voted for this, right?
Uh-huh.
And then, but had an ectopic pregnancy and had to get an exemption and got an exemption, right?
Yep.
So yeah, that's scary place, like reproductive health. But for me, I'm kind of a big picture person. And I've been, ever since anybody even mentioned things like Project 2025, I have been terrified. Like the whole, let's get back to women in the kitchen. Let's make
Mm-hmm.
more babies in this country. RFK
Mm-hmm.
talking about teenage boy sperm counts. We have that aspect. Don't even, I know, like who's testing teenage boys' sperm counts and why are we talking about that? And then you have, now we're going to defund Medicaid and Planned Parenthood. Like, what is going to happen to women in this country? And oh, I'm getting really too heated. I should probably take
No,
a
no,
moment.
I want you to get
Okay.
heated. Honestly,
All right.
honestly, we need to be more
I
heated.
know.
We need to be more worked up.
And then, if they're saying things like birth control won't be covered or any of those things, birth control is more than just birth control. Hormones are used for PCOS and endometriosis. And so I just, and people will say, that again, they're going to say that's being dramatic. These things are not going to happen. So much has happened and we need to look at that. The story I wanted to share with you, because I thought you would really be blown away by this. I use progesterone commonly in menopause hormone therapy. It is generic and super inexpensive, right? I got a prior authorization. I've had 2 prior authorization requests for progesterone. Like, what? It's generic. It's inexpensive. Why am I getting a prior authorization? Coincidentally, both of these people were government employees. So prior auths are a pain. You got to call, you got to talk to somebody who doesn't know what they're talking about and answer some questions. So I'm like, I'm going to do this anyway because I want to know what this is.
Mm-hmm.
The 2 questions they asked me: is this patient seeking gender affirming care? And was this
Oh,
patient
wow.
born female? So this is happening.
First of all, it's none of your fucking business.
Amen.
Okay.
Yes, I wasn't very friendly.
And no, I bet you weren't.
Mhm.
But I think also you got it right in your face. Like, no, this isn't what hearsay.
Mhm.
It's
No, this
happening
is
in
happening.
your own
Yep.
industry. It's unbelievable. I have heard that there are some and I'm going to butcher this. There are some medications that are used for like giving yourself an abortion that are also used for cancer related things, and so they're trying to stop that from coming into America because they're tying it together
Mhm.
with that. Again, don't have the specific details. I can probably put it in the episode.
Yep. But
You've heard that?
yeah, they're looking to, because again, anything that can be abortion related, but also the woman who has the ectopic pregnancy early enough along can do a medical abortion versus having to do a procedure. Without that
Mm-hmm.
access, I'm just scared overall. And again, if they do come after like birth control or it's not considered care, and take away Planned Parenthood at a time when we are facing significant increases potentially in healthcare premiums that people will not be able to afford. We're going to have a whole
No.
bunch of uninsured people who don't have access to Medicaid who are going to have unintentional pregnancies. And I don't understand what the push is for more babies in this country because we cannot take care of what we have now.
I have my own theory on that, and it may be controversial, but I believe that it's because the white person, the white male, is starting to be overtaken by other ethnic groups, and by a certain time frame, it will happen. So therefore, they're trying to reduce that to have more white babies. Unfortunately, I think that's what's happening. And there's a lot of proof that ties that all together.
Mhm.
White supremacy, all the things that are happening in our government, Project 2025, it all ties to that. Unfortunately, they want us home barefoot and pregnant and no access to anything else but being a mother in the kitchen with your child.
And one of the things that did make me sad too is that with this administration, there's a lot.
Mm-hmm.
The I was getting, as before this election, I was getting really excited about the rising up of excitement around women's health. And like women are finally realizing we weren't using women in medical studies until the 90s. Everything was men. Yeah. So
Oh my
it's bad,
God.
but we're recognizing how stupid that, like, we're not men. We're totally different beings here. And so there was getting to be a lot of excitement around doing more women's health research. Well, now what are we doing
Hmm.
with research? And that
They're stopping it, right?
NIH, CDC, like it's gonna take so long to recover from the damage
Hmm.
that's been done that will again set back women's health because, you know, we need to be practicing evidence-based medicine. And when you get into the world of like menopause care, like there needs to be more data to show effectiveness of hormones and even like things like testosterone. It's not FDA
Hmm.
approved in this country for women. It can be a beautiful part of menopause care, but it's I don't know. Anyway, yeah, I could go on and on for days and days about what's happening
No,
and how it
no.
impacts women's health.
Yeah, I think one of my questions would be looking at the overall aerial picture of what's happening in the world, well, specifically the United States. What do you think, just as an observer, why do you think they're doing what they're doing? Do you have any opinion on that? Because I'll give you mine.
Mm.
I feel like they are purposely making us panicked and fearful. And, with the SNAP benefits being taken
Yep.
away tomorrow, if it doesn't open back up, tomorrow it happens. The 27th of October,
Yep.
because we're going to have this air later. People without food, like
Mhm.
I watched a video the other day of a mom, and she said with SNAP benefits, she chooses to go to sleep early because then she won't feel her
Hungry.
stomach rumbling. And now they're going to take that away from her, and the panic that everybody is feeling right now. I'm a single mom. I understand what it's like to have to live paycheck to paycheck.
Yeah.
I understand it with every part of my being. And I've never been on SNAP, but I can't imagine if that was my lifeline, how talk about no sleep.
Cruelty. It's cruelty. Um,
Hmm.
it's entitlement and cruelty. It's people, um, look at him or her. She needs this. I don't need this. And I made a post about this yesterday. We are all
Hmm.
one problem away from possibly needing assistance. Like that's the truth. I try to not see those videos of people disparaging anybody who's on assistance because it just grosses me out. And I do believe, and I think that it's put in your face to elicit a response. When I
Hmm.
believe that there's more people like you and I in the world who care about hungry children, I hope that we all come together and do what we can to feed people.
As you know, I said before, I'm in Texas. So a lot of my family falls into that category.
Hmm.
Like I have to, like I watch the Dallas Cowboys. It's one of my favorite football games. It's on today, actually.
Yeah.
And I've always traditionally watched it with my dad. I would go over there and I'd watch the game with my dad. And a couple of weeks ago, I go over there, not even calling. I just go over there to watch it. And the whole family is sitting around the TV watching the Charlie Kirk Memorial.
Mhm.
And I didn't even know how to react. So I'm like, I'm going to go in the bedroom, even though I came to hang out with dad. I'm going to go in there by
Yeah.
myself and watch the game. So I go in there. My dad comes in and he's like, don't you know who he is? And I went, yeah, he's a podcaster like I am. Like, what's the difference truly? And he's like, he loved his country. He loved God. And I'm like, where am I? I'm in the freaking Twilight Zone right
Mhm.
now. Like, I literally was like, I'm out of here. I had to leave. And I love my dad. And I
Yeah.
know that inside, he's a good guy, but he has Fox News on 24/7.
It's yeah. I love people who follow Christ and love Christ, right? Like,
Sure.
and we have family members who are Christian. Um, what's happened? The absolute disconnect between what Jesus would do if he was here and what's actually happening in this country is alarming. And I don't know how people can actually still believe that that's what they're doing when they're doing very anti-Christ-like things, in not taking care of the poor, all the things. We can get into it all day. It's tough
Yeah.
when you family, I'm estranged. I think if you didn't know this, I'm estranged from my dad and have been since
Oh,
2016,
I didn't know
since
that.
the election. So,
So you get it. You totally get
I
what I'm saying
completely
right
get it.
now.
Yeah. And
Okay.
I am not, estranged from my father because because of politics as much as because he's a jerk. But you know what but Fox
Mm-hmm.
News, we used to be able to banter. We used to be able to banter politically. And then he retired and just watched Fox News on all day
Same.
on like volume
Same.
200. And it changed so much. But I do believe that I do have to believe that people are inherently good. And I do think that if all you see is just the piece that's presented to you, where you and I know, both look at, even though it's painful, I'll watch Fox News and trying
Mm-hmm.
to get a sense of what is everybody seeing. I don't
Mm-hmm.
want to be only seeing my little slice and missing something either. So I think it's sad. And I've seen more and more, family estrangement. I have a lot of people in my life who don't think the same way that I do. And we just we don't, I know that in order to maintain those relationships, we don't discuss politics.
Yeah. On Facebook, I think it's where the biggest mix comes in.
Hmm.
And so I have been slowly building up my bravery, I guess you could
Yeah,
say.
that's tougher than TikTok. Yeah.
It is so much tougher. And so I'll post clips on there knowing I'm going to get a reaction. But also, I want to see who's posting stuff that are the opposite of what I'm saying so I can block them. I know it's horrible.
Nope.
I know it's horrible. But I don't want somebody that would point to the attic if I was up there. And the way things are going, Trump wants everybody to point out the terrorist in the group because they believe differently or oppose him. And
Right.
I don't want somebody in my life that would point to me and say her.
Hmm.
And that's how I view people now.
Yeah.
Would you point to the attic?
Right. I have never been so stressed ever about what's
Mm-hmm.
happening as I have been since January of this year. And it's interesting because my husband, although we feel the same,
Mm-hmm.
I feel it much more deeply and think
Sure.
about it much more, and it takes up more room in my brain. So it's tough. And I
Do you
know lots of people who are actually, their partners feel the opposite. And that's been a struggle for a lot.
do you think it's TikTok? Do you think TikTok is what makes us a little bit more aware, hyper aware of what's
Yeah.
happening everywhere
Sometimes too
because we're in
aware,
this
maybe
bubble?
for me.
Agreed. No,
Yeah.
agreed.
Hmm.
Because and that's why I go and I try to check myself
Hmm.
by going to other places just to make sure I'm not falling into this culty thought.
Right.
But every time I go out, Trump proves me wrong every time. Nope, you're definitely not. It's him. It's absolutely
Yeah.
him.
And it's,
It's not us.
you watch clips of things, and I feel like it's every day. It's at least weekly, if not every day, that the next shocking thing happens. And we keep
Mm-hmm.
thinking, he won't, or it can't. And it does. And so I
Mm-hmm.
think that's another thing, like, just tying this into menopause for a second.
Sure.
Women in midlife in general, like, this is a season where resilience is down in a lot of us. Um, and our nervous systems already need some help.
Mm-hmm.
So this past year, I've had more women say, what's happening in the world is just, it's like lighter fluid on the fire of me not feeling well to begin with. Like, it's really tough to watch.
Has anyone ever asked you, a patient or a potential patient, what your political views are? Is that like a prerequisite? How do you
Yeah.
prerequisite? I can't even say
Requisite.
the word. Requisite. Menopause brain.
I'm going to send you some estrogen patches, Chrissy. Um, so yeah, no, it's real. Menopause brain is real.
Mhm.
In fact, what were we just talking about? No,
Has anybody ever asked you your political views?
yes. Okay, thank you. Yes, but not in the way they don't come out and blatantly ask. I think if you watch any of if you look at my website for my business, if you know that I'm a women's health, nurse practitioner, you probably kind of can guess where I would land. I'm not private about it on Facebook. Funny, one of my patients actually found me on TikTok. So I'm like I'm sitting in the room and how did you find my practice? She's like, I saw your videos on TikTok. I'm like, ooh, I'm a little unhinged on there sometimes, but it's okay. I have my own practice, so I can be a little bit unhinged. Yeah. So I feel like most of the time women, you feel each other out, right? Like any other stressors? Yeah, what's happening in the world. And I just say something like, yeah, it's pretty crazy. And then I know, but based on the next thing they say, kind of where they land. But I don't feel like, I can't tell you. I think most of my patients would be thumbs up with where I am. And I think,
And
go ahead.
I have to tell the audience, she has like 35,000 followers on TikTok. So she's not just like 100 followers. So she's pretty,
I don't know.
up there.
I do not know how that happened. So I have been making videos and doing menopause care and, about menopause and stuff like that. And funny things about my family. I got on there in 2020 because I was bored, right? In pandemic, I had to escape. And then after the election, I made a post. I said, if you look like me and you voted for her, how are we going to let people know that we're actually safe when we look like this? Because how many percentage of white women voted for him? And that was the one. That was when,
explosion.
A lot of women. And so I get some, nasties on there, which I'll sometimes have fun with. But for the most part, it's just this beautiful, group of women who are in the same place that we are.
And I love that. And I think that's the really great thing about TikTok is that you do meet really great people. Like for the first time, I met somebody on TikTok when I went to the protest, the No Kings recently. I did. She had jumped into my DMs and she's like, she's in Dallas or in Texas. Yeah. And she's like, how do you get down there? Is there special parking? I said, no, just take the train. It is so much easier.
Sorry.
And I'm walking. No, oh my God.
This is my son.
Oh, so cute.
He's my empty nest savior.
We all need one of those. My son graduates this year. He's my last of 3, so I totally understand. So I got off the train and me and my daughter there were walking and all of a sudden I hear somebody go, thank you for the advice on the train. And I look over and it's Danny and I'm just like, I met somebody on TikTok. This is real.
That so cool. Is so cool. That is so
yeah, it was really cool. And I got to meet you.
I know. I was so excited for today. I was nervous and excited and all the things.
And I have to tell you, I am really a bad interviewer.
No, you're not.
I'm really good at talking by myself. No, I was like, I didn't even plan anything. I'm like, let's just go off the cuff, and see what happens. But that's why the beginning was kind of weird where I'm just like, okay, let's do this. I don't know what I'm doing. So I'm just a normal human.
You give yourself way more credit than that. You're fantastic. And I all day long would rather just sit here and that's the feel is you're chit-chatting with your girlfriend and that's,
Yeah. And it's true. I really wanted to learn from you. Like I love to have people on that are smarter, that can teach me things, and then we can teach somebody else, and to know that maybe somebody took something away where they're like, you know what, I want to reach out. I need help, and nobody seems to understand what's happening. And that is so important. Like we need to take care of each other as friends, as the community, in this political climate, but also just for your health, just to be, we need you strong, ladies. We need you strong.
Yes, we do.
Which is the biggest thing. And so is there anything that you want to close and tell the audience about before we leave?
Sure. I think my biggest take home is, as women, we have taken care of everyone our entire lives. Midlife should be a season where we get to take a breath. We get to reprioritize ourselves and take care of ourselves, pour into ourselves. This should be a season of joy. And if it's not, and you're in the struggle, particularly if it's, hormones or you have unhealed trauma, like this is the season, take care of it. Like go do your therapy, get on hormones, like if you want to and are a candidate, make this season amazing and go into this next season healthy and happy. You deserve it.
Yeah, I loved having you on, and I'm going to give you a second to brag about yourself and tell people where they can find you, because I know after seeing this, they're going to go look you up. So give us your website, give us your podcast, tell us where you're at.
So for website, you can go to either Victoria Kerby Wellness. That's my business for my personal practice. And then I also have fadedtofabulous.biz, and you can find the link to the podcast on there. And that's just fun connecting with women in midlife.
And they can find you on TikTok, which is where I found her.
Yeah, and TikTok again, if you want to hear my angry ranting, you can.
Who wouldn't? Misery loves company.